is President Obama's pick for Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel, Don Johnsen. The OLC is where the Bush torture memos came from, and Don Johnsen was conspicuously critical of the office and its role in the torture policies before the election. Now, guess what? Republican Senator George Voinovich says Johnsen is in real trouble. Senator Arlen Specter says a GOP filibuster of her nomination remains under consideration. And Senator John Cornyn says, quote, "I just don't think she's qualified for the job. First of all, she's an ideologue." An ideologue filling the position once held by Jay Bybee? No. In order to avoid talking about the torture thing, the T word, there's now protest of Don Johnsen's position on reproductive rights. 20 years ago, in a footnote she filed in an amicus brief, Johnsen wrote, quote, "Abortion restrictions reduce pregnant women to no more than fetal containers." Now her anti-abortion rights Republican opponents say Don Johnsen says women are fetal containers. Actually, she was saying that's what you guys think of women. Maybe Republicans loathe Don Johnson's ideology. Yeah, right. Maybe the base despises her pro-choice position. Or maybe it's a lot of hoo-ha to cover their fear that Don Johnsen would give no quarter to torturers. Joining us now is Dahlia Lithwick, senior editor at Slate.com. Dahlia, it's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me, Rachel.
Is the Republican opposition to Don Johnson's nomination about her critique of Bush's torture policies? Is it her pro-choice positions? Both? Can you tell?
It's everything. She just, I think, was an ideal candidate for them to sort of try out the flame-throwing that this is a dry run for future confirmation wars. And I think they just want to test the waters. She's such a perfect candidate for them because, as you said, she's been very vocally supportive of abortion rights. Even though it was in a footnote, she's been very, very vocally critical of the work that happened at the OLC in the Bush administration. So I think she just looks like a good target. And I think this has nothing really to do with Don Johnsen. It's sort of a little warm-up, a practice run for when they really go after someone in a confirmation hearing for the courts.
In terms of the substance of the way that they are attacking her, does the Office of Legal Counsel have any oversight of the abortion issue in any way?
No. Okay. They're using it as a proxy for how she thinks, you know, which is absurd on its face. As you say, it's a 20-year-old brief and it's a footnote. But I think they're saying she's such a raging ideologue that she can't see straight.
At Johnson's confirmation hearings, there was one comment from Republican Senator Jeff Sessions that stuck with me because he accused her of, and I'm quoting here, blogging, advocating, and speeching for the opposite side. Now, I don't want to get into the whole nuts and bolts of speeching here, but essentially he's saying she's got a side. She has known positions on things. Does it make any reasonable sense that that would be an objection to an OLC candidate?
Well, it's doubly paradoxical if you think about it, because the thing she was blogging and speeching about was torture. It was how bad OLC was and how sloppy their work was. So it puts the Republicans in this awful position of having to say, because the work they did in the Bush OLC was terrific, how dare she call it into question? So it's really doubly ironic to go after her for this particular issue. This is an issue on which she was very clear, before the rest of us were clear, that the memos were bad, the lawyering was sloppy, and that torture was torture.
Yeah, now she'll come in and she'll sully that office. It's amazing to me. On the issue of torture, on the issue of accountability and moving forward, if she is head of the OLC, will that have any influence on, say, what further memos get released, what further information about the previous work of that office becomes publicly known, or is that something that gets decided by the Attorney General?
Well, she certainly was asked that question at her confirmation hearing, and she said overwhelmingly her approach is sunlight is the best disinfectant, and she's going to try to release as much as she can release without compromising security. So her direct answer to that was, if it ever becomes my issue, my choice, I'm going to err on the side of openness and transparency. Hard to know after last week how much more damaging OLC memos can come out. I don't know what there is left to be horrified by after last week's release.
Dahlia Lithwick, senior editor at Slate.com. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, Dahlia.
Always a pleasure, Rachel.